Tawela, hey everyone, my name is TSHEGO Morena. Ke nna Morena ke rena ke busha mo godimo le mafase. And welcome to my podcast. Yo, my voice is sounding different today. Ish. Flu, when I catch you, you'll be in big trouble, boy. Anyways, man, I hope you guys are good. I'm well, I'm great. It's just that flu has haunted me. And for the past week, yeah, my voice has been auto-tuned by flu itself. So, hi, but I hope you guys. I hope flu though it's not haunting you guys, cause it has even made my voice lighter. Ugh, damn. you know, during times like these of sickness, I sometimes wonder, Uti, singers, with great voices, when flu attacks their voice too, how do they cope? Like, do they like, you know? But otherwise, I hope you guys are good. I'm well. I'm great. I'm amazing. Like I said, the only thing is just flu. And the past weekend, I was supposed to record an episode. The past week, I was supposed to upload something. I actually wanted to upload something, but I had a lot of obligations, so, but yeah, there's no excuse for this anyways. I mean, if I don't show up, no one else is gonna show up for me, right? But yeah, I hope you guys are well. I'm doing well. I'm okay. I'm just, you know, waiting for this flu to heal, but I'll be good. Anyways, what's been popping? What's been going on? Nothing really has been going on except for news about a certain virus attacking an area. But, you know, it hasn't gotten that serious yet, so okay, maybe it has gotten serious, but you know, I mean, in a global sense, global scale wise. So, yeah. But yeah, it'll be good, man. I hope you guys are well. Today's episode is going to be a little bit short because of my flu, so I hope you guys don't mind. I'm even gonna get straight to business, abo, because I want to leave you guys with a little something while I go and heal this flu of mine away. So let's go, let's do this. Anyways, what I really wanted us to talk about today, is this little peer pressure that's going around of people might be of youth abandoning their cultures, like that peer pressure. I don't know what's going on with it because, you know, when you try to understand why they want to abandon their cultures, you know, it doesn't even make sense. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why I'm saying this, or the reason why this is our topic today, is because Wednesday, I was speaking to someone like that. They told me that, I'm quitting my, I don't want to be associated. I don't want to be identified with my culture anymore because my culture this, my culture that, you know. She raised some great points. Would see, you know, oppression here and there. I get it, but why should that be motivation for you to quit your own culture? Because culture, there's a difference between culture and tradition. I don't know if you guys have noticed, you know, because most of these people who want to quit culture or who want to wear the wokeism from the Western media propaganda, because that's where they get it, most of them, is that they forget that there's a difference between a culture and a tradition. Tradition is the one that we should be scrutinizing and saying, hey, why was this allowed back then? Why was this, you know? So a lot of people tend to categorize culture and tradition in one sense. But then culture is more than just rituals or deeds or whatever traditional thing you have to do. Culture is more about you than it is about the people. It's about your identity. Who are you? Okay? I mean, most of us wouldn't have a last name if it wasn't for culture. Most of us wouldn't know where we come from if it wasn't for culture. Most of us wouldn't have a background in history, basically, if we didn't have culture. Okay? So culture is your identity, whether you like it or not, as an African person or whichever tribe, race you are, whatever culture you're from, That's your identity, whether you like it or not. Whether you want to act all Western and act all woke and think that you're much better than people who still practice their culture, that's still your identity. And you know what, ne? I wish people who want to quit culture or who want to quit practicing their culture, I wish they could also relieve themselves with their last name, because their last name is the reason why they have culture. Like, I really wish that was a thing, but okay, what can we say? Anyways, so I'm busy talking to her. She's like, yeah, women have been oppressed for the longest of time, and I get it. I get some parts of her argument, Vele. Why were women treated this way back then? But you can't say you want to abandon your culture now just because of that. Rather say, I want to scrutinize and attack the traditions that our great-grandfathers or whoever that was the leader back then made, so that our people could live in such bad states. That's how you should put it, And after that, I just really started going on a little research of mine and trying to see if there are others like her. And when I got to social media, I actually realized that, damn, this is actually a cult. It's a movement of peer pressure. People wanting to quit their cultures. Oh my God, nah, I want to quit my culture. Wokeism. Really? No. Because if you're going to quit your culture and say you don't want to practice your culture, remember, like I said, there's a difference between culture and tradition. So if you're basically saying that you quit your identity, you quit your history, and you just quit everything that makes you you, how's that going to affect the future generations? Knowing very well that Africans are not very good at documenting things. Pella, we don't know our history. We don't know our full history, because generation to generation, our history was never well documented. Everything was just word from mouth. Word to mouth, word from mouth, word to mouth. So that's the reason why most people have a different version of history today. That's why the debates of where do South African cultures come from will never end, because every single person has a different backstory of what they were told by their predecessors, their grandmothers, their grandparents. So it's impossible for us to fully know our history. And sometimes you may find that the grandparents told the kid a twisted version of their history because they wanted to portray themselves, I don't know, as superior or what. Like, for example, if maybe which culture can I use? Let's say the Bapedi and the Swazis. I get you guys know that there was a point in time where the Bapedi people defeated the Swazi people, right? So now, a Swazi family, take a Swazi family, Swazi grandmother telling history to the Swazi grandson. The Swazi grandmother can lie and say, no, we defeated the Bapedi, or the Bapedi defeated us because they cheated, or, and then the child then embodies that as their history. But then the Bapedi on that other side, they know that we once defeated those people, so this person, what are they saying? And the worst part about it is that you can't dispute Ukoko, you can't dispute a granny, because you were not there when they were still a youth. You were not even a thought when they were still doing what they were doing. Yeah, bo. So it's impossible to try and argue with her and say, no, Coco, but this is where you got it all wrong, because it all binds to age. I'm older than you, so I have more wisdom than you, So because of those kind of things, our history was never well documented enough. Even the history of apartheid, there's still missing pieces, dots, So now, as a youth, when you say that you want to quit or you want to abandon the part where Africans at least try to document, which is culture, you're confusing me, because you're basically saying that you want to rob the future generation of their identity, their history. Because I feel like my youth is forgetting Uhuti. We are the adults of tomorrow, bro. The next decade will be the one turning 30. We'll be the one we'll be the uncles, Women will be the aunts. The girls will be the aunties. Abo. We'll be having nieces and nephews, and those nieces and nephews are going to be coming to us asking those kind of questions. We'll see, where do we come from? How, what will we have to say? Like, what role will you play? Abo. You see that you'll just be, So that's why I'm saying that this thing is peer pressure. It's peer pressure, and it's unnecessary peer pressure, because priding yourself of disregarding your culture is another form of self-hate. It's another form of self-hate. That's it. I don't have any other way to put it. Priding yourself in disregarding the culture that you came from is a form of self-hate. In fact, I'd regard it as the highest form of self-hate, because you're using a surname that was carved from that culture, Like, and hear me out, guys. I'm saying I don't have a problem with us confronting some of the traditions that were made back in the day, because some traditions never made sense. Even to me, some traditions, they just don't make sense to me. Why was this a rule anyways? But we can do that without having to abandon our culture. We can do that without having to abandon our identity. Trust me, you don't have to be acting all Western, absorbing a Black American TikTok that you saw on a random Tuesday and say, yeah, no, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna do this too. No, man. I pride myself. I'm one of those youth who pride themselves in the culture that they come from. I pride myself in my history, my background history, my tribal history, my tribal background, my tribal everything. Do you get what I'm saying? I pride myself in that. That's why even my intro always consistently is always morena, because that's who I am. That's my identity. That's where I come from. That's where I descend. I'm a proud Sepedi speaking person, not just a Sepedi speaking person, but a Sepedi living individual, and I want to be that uncle or that father in the far future who's able to narrate to his kids or his grandkids about their history of where they come from. In fact, I want to take it a step further. I want to document. And that's why if you guys followed me last year on TikTok, I was making tons of content about African history, And what I love is that now that I've tried to document as much, my digital footprint of me documenting history is on the internet. So I'm proud of my digital footprint, because even when my kids one day get to see me, they'll be like, oh wow, dad actually tried to do this, granddad actually tried to do this, oh wow, uncle tried to do this. I don't know if I should say I'm a proud conservative man. I don't know if that fits, but if it fits, then yes, I'm a proud conservative in 2K. However, I'm a conservative in such a way that I'm not blind or ignorant to the world that is changing around me. Or I'm conservative, but I'm also open to changes that are happening around the world. Because for me, my definition of being conservative is retaining your identity, which is your culture, but also being open-minded to the changes that are happening around me. I can't be oblivious to the fact that technology is advancing, because I've realized that most conservative people, for example, most conservative people, they try to be ignorant to the current changes happening. They also want to keep the same old way of doing things, which is impractical. Hence I'm saying I'm coming with my own new definition. I'm CHEGO MORENA. I'm coming with my own new definition of conservatism, and I'm saying I am proud to be a conservative person. And my definition of being conservative is making sure that my history, my identity is well documented within me, but also when the laws are changing, I must move with the times. In fact, I'm one of those conservative people that wish we could revisit some of the African laws that were made back then, or African traditions that were made back then. I'm that conservative person who wishes we could revise certain African traditional laws and practices, because I personally believe that living in the modern times today, we cannot be operating with a system that is 200 years old, you know, because look at the South African laws as well. It keeps updating itself as time goes on because it understands that time are moving. So why can't we do the same? Why can't we say, okay, cool, maybe after 100 years or after 50 years, you know, the leaders of each tribe shall meet and discuss and revise and see if this law is still relevant even today now. If it's not relevant, it's getting phased out. It's becoming obsolete. And then we bring in new laws. That's the way the African, and also while we're phasing out the old ones, we need to ensure that they're well documented as well, so that our great grandchildren in the future, when they learn our history, they can understand that, oh, this law applied at a specific point in time. So this means that it was working at this in this timeline between 2026 to 2036. Because at the time it was this and that. That's how I think that we can progress as Africans. You know, we can't be stuck on the olden ways of doing things. Oh man. Some things, yeah, we could still do, but not every law or every African law still has to be done in the same old manner. We can still change. So yeah. In closing, and it is a very beautiful topic that I would have loved to dissect in a very long episode, but I think I will in the future. But anyways, in closing, I would like to say that the youth of South Africa that is trying to abandon their culture right now, I understand what you are trying to do, but you're going about it in a manner which I would not recommend you go in. Do not try to abandon your culture. No. Try to question the traditional laws that were done a very long time ago, because that is the real problem. The problem is not the culture. No. The problem is the traditional practices. Do you get the difference now? Culture, tradition, very two distinct things. So yeah, don't be an enemy of your kids tomorrow, because tomorrow your kids are gonna want to look up to you, or your nieces, even if you say you don't want to have kids, you know, they're gonna want to look up to you, and they're gonna see that you're just an empty shell of a human being because you abandoned something that was valuable to you a very long time ago. You get me? Yeah. So don't do that. I think what? Yes. So don't do that, guys. In closing, I just want to say that teach your kids your language. Yeah, parents, this thing of you guys having your kids speaking English only and they don't even know their mother tongue as well. I think I'll save that for the next episode. But otherwise, thank you guys for tuning in today. This is a topic that I'll definitely revisit in the future because there's a lot that needs to be unpacked. Okay, it's more than just peer pressure. It's also other factors that have to do with the after effects of things like apartheid and colonialism. So I think definitely I'll revisit it in the future. But for now, I just wanted to give you guys a little something so you can nibble on while I nurse myself back to health. Okay, so yeah. Thank you guys for tuning in. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye bye.